Okay, let's come into mountain pose. Feet together. Make sure your knees are over your ankles, your hips are over your knees. Slightly tuck your tailbone in. Roll your shoulder blades back and down. So we're standing up really tall. Shoulder blades back and down. Tuck your chin in. So you want to feel like there's a string being pulled the top of your head. So we're creating some space in between our vertebrae. Go ahead and rock your weight forward and back, left and right. So you want to evenly distribute the weight in your feet. Sometimes we stand and we put one weight in one hip more than the other. So we want to stand up really tall, evenly distribute that weight, rock forward and back, left and right. Again, slightly tuck that tailbone in. We're creating lots of space in between our vertebrae. All day long, gravity compacts our spine. So we're standing up really tall, creating lots of space in our spine. Okay, so let's do some forward folds. So bring your hands to your heart. Then we're gonna inhale, reach up really tall. Exhale, come forward, bending up the hips. Just take your time. We're gonna warm up the spine. That's one. And then let's do that again. You can stay on your heels or you can come up onto your toes. And then bend at the hips. Then start to incorporate your breath. Inhale, reach up really tall. Exhale, come forward. Inhale up. Exhale. Down. You can stay at the bottom for a second, feel the stretch behind your legs. So we're taking those yogic breaths. So we inhale, push the belly out, exhale, push the belly in. Let's do one more. Feet together. Roll your shoulder blades back and down. Okay, so let's come into warrior one. So right foot forward, left foot comes back. Our left foot is at an angle. And make sure your knee lines up with your ankle. Square hips to the front of the room. Bring your arms up. Inhale and then exhale. Come into your lunge. Feel like your shoulders are up by your ears. Just relax your shoulders. Take some deep breaths here. Send your breath into those tight spaces. And then bring the arms down, bring the foot forward. Shake that out if you need to. And then let's do that on the other side. So left foot comes forward, right foot comes back at an angle, and your heel is lined up with the middle of your right foot. And then make sure your knee is over your ankle, square hips to the front, bring your arms up. Take some deep breaths here. Then bring your arms down, bring your right foot forward, shake that out if you need to. And then let's come back to the center. Let's come into chair pose. So feet hip width apart. And then we're going to inhale, bring our arms up. We're going to bring all of our weight into our heels. Look forward. If you haven't activated your breath yet, start to activate your breath. You want to inhale, push your belly out. Exhale, push your belly in. Look down, make sure your knees are behind your toes so you can come down a little bit lower. And then let's release that, bring your arms down. Let's come into ragdoll. Inhale, reach up really tall. Come down onto your heels, bend forward at the hips and grab the elbows. Just let the head go, let the neck go. Just take some deep breaths. And let's take an inhale and we'll come over to the right. Inhale. Exhale, come over to the right. Feel the stretch all down the left side. Come back to center. Let's about on the other side. Inhale. Come over to the left. Exhale. Then come back to center. Then release the hands and gently roll to the top. Head's going to come up last. Come up one vertebra at a time. Then come back to mountain pose. Feet together. Stand up really tall. Your hands are even by your sides. Make sure your knees are over your ankles, your hips are over your knees. Slightly tuck that chin in. So this is our neck lock, our Drillunderbund. That way we make sure all that energy flows up to the top of the head and stays there. So make sure you gently tuck that chin back. Okay, let's come into warrior two. So right foot forward, left foot comes back. And then we're gonna bring our arms to a T. So make sure your knee stays over your ankle. Our heel is lined up with the middle of the left foot. And then we're gonna look out past our right fingertips here. Take some deep breaths. Feel the expansion across your chest. Opening that heart chakra. But look back at your left hand, see what that one's doing. Then you want to look forward again. And bring your forearm to the top of your thigh. Bring your arm up and over your head, and then look down towards the mat. So feel the stretch all down the left side of the body. If you feel like this left shoulder is collapsing, you want to open it up. And circle that arm down, bring that left foot forward, shake that out a little bit. Let's do that on the other side. So left foot forward, right foot comes back, your heel is lined up with the middle of the right foot. And we'll come into warrior two. So bring your arms up. Make sure your knee is over that ankle. Maybe you need to pull that back foot in a little bit. Look out past the left fingertips here. Look back at your right hand real fast. Make sure that one's level. And look back forward. Really deepen your breath here. So not only increasing the amount of oxygen in our body, we're increasing the amount of life force energy. So you really want to take some deep inhales, deep exhales. Really feel the expansion across your chest, activating that heart chakra. And then drop your left arm down, bring your right arm up over your head. Take some deep breaths here. If you feel like that right arm is starting to collapse, open up that right side. Circle that right arm down, bring that right foot forward, shake that out if you need to. Okay, let's come into triangle pose. So right foot forward, the left foot comes back. This time the heel lines up with the heel of the right foot. And we're gonna bring our arms to a T, like we're coming into warrior two, straighten that right leg. And then we're gonna inhale, we're gonna reach over to the right, and then exhale, come down. So you can stay here, hand on your calf or your ankle, or you can come down to the mat. And you can look up towards that right hand and see if your arms are parallel, or you can just look down at the mat, doesn't matter. Increase your breath, that's all that matters. Really deepen your breath, make sure you can hear it. Really deep inhale, deep exhale. Bring the left arm down and then bend that right knee. Then let's come out of that pose. Shake that out if you need to. Let's do that on the other side. So left foot comes forward, the right foot comes back. Our heels are lined up this time. And our right foot is straight, it's not at an angle. And we're gonna bring our arms to a T. We're straightening that left leg. And then we're gonna inhale. Come over to the left, exhale and come down. So you're either coming to your calf, your ankle, or the mat. Look up towards that right hand. Make sure your arms are stacked on top of each other. Look back down towards the mat. So you can activate your ujjayi breath here. That's that windy breath. It helps you focus on your breathing. Bring that right arm down, bend that left knee. Come forward, shake that out if you need to. And then let's come back into mountain pose. So feet together, stand up really tall. This pose is really important. It seems really simple, but we're grounding ourselves into the earth. We're activating that first chakra. And we're also standing up really tall, which is important because we're always on our phones. We're hunched over like this. So you really want to open up through the shoulders, roll them back and down. You want to tuck that chin in. You want to stand up really tall, slightly tuck your tailbone in. So we're aligning our spine, which is not only good for our body, but it's also good for the energy to be able to run through the spine if it's straight. And if we're lengthening it, we're creating all this space for that energy to run up to the top of the head. That way you can hit that pineal gland and we can have nothing happen or amazing things happen. Either way, it still works. So when we activate that pineal gland, we talked about that last week, we're activating that super consciousness where all sorts of cool things can happen. So we want to have a really straight, long spine. So that way the energy can run up to the top of the head. So let's come into another forward fold. So inhale, reach up really tall, stretch, stretch, stretch. Come onto your heels, come forward. So grab the ankles or the calves or let your hands just fall forward. Just take some deep breaths.
Send your breath to any tight spaces in your back, in your shoulders, in your neck. And then slowly roll to the top. Your head's going to come up last. And come back to mountain pose, feet together. Roll your shoulders back and down. Stand up really tall, tuck that chin in. Feel the expansion across your chest. Hands equal by your sides. Okay, let's come into half moon pose on the right. So inhale, reach up really tall, creating a lot of space in between your vertebra, and then come over to the right. So you're gonna feel the stretch all down the left side of the body. Back to center, big circle with the arms. Let's do that on the other side. Inhale, reach up really tall, come under your toes. Exhale, come down, come over to the left. So feel the stretch all down the right side. In, and you can bring your hands to your back, clasp them on your back, and then or you can just put your hands on your low back if you can't clasp your hands. So we're going to inhale and then exhale, come forward, bending at the hips. So from here, you can let your hands fall forward. Take some deep breaths here. We're getting our head below our heart. So see if your heart has any messages for you. When our head is under our heart, it's easier for us to listen to our heart and listen to the thoughts in our head.
then bring your hands to your low back, leading with the chest, come up. Slowly bring your head to the top and then release your hands. We're gonna heel toe our feet back to mountain pose, standing up really tall, centering ourselves again. Okay, let's come to the front of our mat and let's come into a forward fold, and then we're going to come into downward dog. Actually, let's come into a back bend. So bring your hands to your heart. We're going to inhale, lift up, reaching through the chest, protecting the low back. So we're lifting up through the chest for our back bend. And then we're going to come forward, bending at the hips. And then from here, we're going to walk our feet back into downward dog. So feet hip width apart, hands hip width apart. Take some deep breaths here. We're actually lengthening our back. Pedal your feet left and right if that feels good. And then from here, let's come up to our knees. Let's push back into child's pose. So our feet are together. Your knees can either be together or hip width apart. Let's take some deep breaths here. Okay, and then let's come on to all fours. We're going to come into our cat-cow. So we're going to inhale, look up, exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, look up, exhale, chin to chest. So keep going. We're going to do our 3 minutes of cat-cow. We're going to balance all 7 chakras. You can go as slow or as fast as you want. Just make sure you're breathing, really moving the spine, moving the breath. Keep going. So I forgot to tell you guys this at the beginning that I don't know if you guys know this, but I have a bachelor's degree in medical nutrition therapy and a minor in biology. So I really like the science behind the yoga because you don't have to know the science, but when you know the science, it kind of helps you figure out what's going on. And so I really like learning about the pineal gland and the anatomy and everything that's going on, the chemicals that are being released in your body, and why you can have these trippy psychedelic experiences when we do the yoga. And so that's why, I don't know if you guys knew that, but just wanted to share that. Because you're like, what is she talking about? Like, I think it's interesting. I think it's good to know. Let's do one more inhale, look up. Exhale, chin to chest. And then push back into child's pose. Our hands together in prayer pose. Okay, and then let's come up onto all fours. Let's come into pigeon pose. So we're gonna bring the right leg across and we're gonna bring the left leg down. So take some deep breaths here. So if your legs feel tight, just send your breath into those tight spaces. These tend to store a lot of emotions in our hip flexors, in our hip area. So if any strong emotions come up for you, just take note of that. Just send your breath to those tight spaces. Make sure you're still taking those yogic breaths. Make sure you can hear your breath. You want to inhale, push the belly out. Exhale, push the belly in. And then bring that left foot in. And then we're going to stretch that right foot out. So let's do that on the other side. Bring the left leg across and then come down on the left side. So again, continue to take some deep breaths here. The reason why I was explaining all the science last week is because we're all yogic scientists and our job is to do the yoga and see what happens, see if we can have these altered states of consciousness, activate our pineal gland, activate the chakras, see if we can get the energy to run through the spine. So it's us as yogic scientists to apply the yoga, and we've got our hypothesis, we've been told this is what happens, so it's our job, let's see if this works. So it's important to know what's happening, so that way if you have a mystical experience, you know why. And then bring that right foot in, and then stretch that left foot out. And then come back into all fours. And then we're going to come into cow face pose. So we're gonna bring I'll face you guys. So we're gonna bring the right knee over the left knee, and then you're gonna sit back on your butt. So right knee over the left knee. I don't know if you guys can see this. So they're kind of like crossed like that, right over the left. And then we're going to bring the right hand up overhead, and then bring the left hand behind you. So if you cannot touch your fingers together, that is definitely okay. If you can interlock your fingers, go ahead and do that. If not, just bring your hands onto your back. I'll show you. So bring your hands on your back like this. You just want to sit up really tall. That's all that matters. And you want to stretch your arms. If you can interlace your fingers, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. If not, just leave your hands on your back. So take some deep breaths here. You mainly just want to sit up really tall. Make sure you're breathing. And then release your hands. And then come forward and release your knees. So we're going to do that on the other side. So you're on all fours. So bring the right knee over the left, and then you want to sit back onto your butt. So your legs are stacked, your feet are over here. And then bring your left arm up over your head and just sit up really tall. If you cannot touch your fingers, not a problem. We are stretching the back of the left arm and we're stretching the right arm. You just want to sit up tall. If you don't really want to hunch over like this, so just put your arms where they need to be, where you can sit up tall. And then release your hands and then come forward. And then let's release those legs and then come into a seated position. Let's come into cobbler pose. So feet together. I'm going to sit up really tall. Inhale. Exhale, come forward. You can press your elbows into your thighs if you need a little bit more of a stretch. And then sit up really tall. Bring the right foot out. Inhale, reach up really tall, and then exhale, come over to the right. So feel the stretch all down the left side. Try to keep that left shoulder from collapsing and to keep that left shoulder open. And then come to center, big circle with the arms. Let's come into head to knee pose. So inhale, reach up really tall, creating space in between the spine, and then come over to that right knee. And then inhale, we'll come back up, big circle with the arms. Let's do that on the other side. So bring the right foot in, bring the left foot out. And we're gonna inhale, stretch up really tall. Exhale, come over to the left. And then inhale, come back up. Big circle with the arms. Let's come into head to knee pose. So inhale, reach up really tall. Face that left knee, come forward. Inhale, back up to the top. Exhale, big circle with the arms. And then let's bring both of our feet out. And we're going to grab our big toes and we're going to push into our toenail and our head's coming down. So we're going to feel the stretch in between the thighs. And then use your hands, come back up. It comes up last. And then let's bring our feet to the mat. Let's roll back down onto our backs. Bring your knees into your chest. And gently rock left and right, giving your organs a good massage. And then let's come into Shavasana. Palms face up, let the feet fall to each side. And then go ahead and take 5 yogic breaths on your own. So you can put one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart if you'd like. So inhale, push the belly out. Exhale, push the belly in. Gently let your breath fall back into its natural rhythm. And then just take a moment and focus on the point between your brow. So gently look up and in. With that third eye point. Just focusing on that point for a moment. See if you see anything. Sometimes you can see a purple dot. That's that 6th chakra. You can see nothing at all. It's totally fine. This is that third eye. So gently looking up and in at the point between the brow. Activating our intuition, our inner knowing. Just gently relax. Just let your eyes fall back to a natural position. let your attention fall onto your breath. If you can follow your breath into your belly, up back out through your nose. So remember that our bodies have a north and south pole, which means it creates an electromagnetic field around us. And when we're in this coherent state, this electromagnetic field becomes aligned. We're able to affect the electromagnetic field of the people around us, to have an effect on our communities, around people around us. The body's able to heal faster when you get into this coherent state. Just take a moment and recognize how your body feels when you get here, so that way you can get here next time. And let's look up at that third eye, the point between the brow. Just gently gaze at that point between the brows. See if you can see the purple dot. Maybe it looks pink, maybe it looks magenta. If you don't see anything, that's fine too, but just gently look at that point between the brow. Just relax your gaze, let your eyes fall back into a natural space. And gently start to wiggle your fingers and toes. And bring your arm up over your head and roll over onto your side. And come up into a seated position. Eyes closed, bring your hands to your heart. And this time, we'll end the class by chanting Om. So we're going to inhale. Om. Namaste.